Press record. The recording is in progress. Hi, both.
It's official.
Yes. Elsa, how are you?
I am good. I
Good.
probably don't sound good, but I am. Yeah,
Well,
I'm good.
there's a new disease out. It's called Felgamatic, it's called. I don't know whether you've heard of it. But everybody I know is full of snot, right? Yeah, yeah, full of catarrh,
Yeah.
right? And finding it
Mm.
difficult to breathe, because
Mm.
there's so many respiratory problems going on.
Yeah.
Now, I don't
Yeah.
know how this is coming about, but I've got some suggestions that I'll be making to people. Right.
Yeah. Well, if everything else fails, just start tying onions around your neck. This onion thing is amazing. We saved a few puppies this week with onions. So I'm trying to, because I'm hand feeding puppies at the moment, and they can't breathe. And I put a cut onion right under their nose instantly. It's honestly melt like magic. Yeah.
Well, as you know, we're very into natural remedies first and
Hmm.
foremost, and Nux Vom and all sorts of homeopathic remedies going on, and you know,
Hmm.
dandelion and burdock and all these sorts of things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
rubbing onions in the soles of our feet and stuff like that. We don't have any friends because we smell that much,
That's right.
But
I
you
know
know
they
what?
can smell you coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And people say, what's that? What's that? Canal, as my dad would say, it smells like canal number five, and stuff like that. Right. Yeah. Or
See,
poison, or
yeah,
definitely
you can.
not angel by Thierry Mugler and all these sorts of things. See, I've got no idea where I'm going with this, but
Well, I always visualize the supermarket, and you're at the supermarket and you see our family or Dr. Joe walking down one aisle, and the rest of the shopping centre over right on the other side
yeah,
because they smell. Because we do. It's just onion. But, seriously, from last year, it literally saved my life. Onion. I know. And you laugh, but when you can't breathe, and you're gasping for your last breath. But there's something about gasping for your last breath, but your body's on the shutdown. Because that's almost usually it looks more peaceful. But when you're gasping for your breath, but you haven't shut down, meaning your will still wants to live, it
yeah, yeah,
becomes terror. It can become terror.
yeah. And
It's very
that's
different.
it is, and at death and sort of, it's well known that what's it called change Stokes breathing. It's a sort of an indication of letting
Yeah.
go, isn't it? But you can
Mm.
sometimes see in people's eyes, because that's I've worked in that field. You can see in people's eyes they're hanging on, you know.
Yeah.
And I
Well, they
think
have
it's
the shutdown. Oh, well, the
no, 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 no.
puppies.
I think
Yeah.
what's happening globally now to humanity is we're being asked now to surrender to the next level of our evolution. And what
Mm.
will come with that is a whole new value system based upon
Yeah.
truth and because we've been misaligned for millions of
Yeah.
years. I see this. I didn't know I was going to go into this, but what we're being asked to do is, right, by maybe not higher authorities, because they're not authorities, but they're authoritative. And when I say author, is they've got a bit more idea of the script, really. That's how I see
Mm.
these things. So we're almost being read the lines and guided into how to let go and ascend, but it's not really ascension. It's like an expansion into the
Mm.
next level of our human evolution. And I think in the process, there's almost like a radiation type feeling where all the old stuff is being burnt away see, I've got a phoenix rising from the ashes now, so that's coming up now. So it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes, but there's a necessary disintegration taking place, which also feels like breaking hearts. But it's not breaking hearts, it's breaking the shell that's contained the real heart. I've got no idea where that all that came. Well, I do. I know where it come from, but over to you,
Yeah.
Elsa.
Well, it sounds like I've been speaking about this and getting messages in sessions and emails from people and um see when you do sessions and emails with people, and groups, I look at every single one of them as a key player, a gift. We're crossing paths. And so things I'll say, things they do, I go, oh my gosh, that was the gift they gave me. And they'll never know what they gave me unless, I'm fortunate enough to tell them, but or thank them. But I go, oh, that was that riddle. It was that riddle, that message. And people go, well, you're making this into something. And I go, well, whether I am or I'm not, how come it keeps showing up? And that's how I seem to be able to understand history or what's before us or help us to make a decision on the next thing or the next day. And whether it is made up or not made up, it doesn't matter because it's working. And I'm still breathing. And, most of the days I'm smiling or crying, one of the two.
No,
Oh,
but I'm the same.
yeah.
I'm like most of the time as cool as a cucumber. Even with all
Yeah.
the stuff that's going on. I mean, if I do watch the news, right, I'll say, I feel my heart's open and it feels sad, but I don't get attached to it emotionally anymore because it's pointless, because there's
Mm,
nothing that I can do. So if I get attached to it in some sort of, let's just say, a sentimental type way, and it isn't that terrible, then it's almost like a temptation and distraction that takes me away from my usefulness, really. So it takes me away and it guides me away into some sort of um, you should be behaving like this,
mm,
Joseph. Well, I've had that all my life where people outside of me have been telling me how I'll be successful, how I'm not doing things correctly, blah de blah. So programmed in societal values that don't coincide and resonate with my soul's vibration. Look, I'm on one. I'm on one already. I'm I'm early on one, right? But I agree
mm.
now. We're being guided now to let go of our second nature and almost like to fall back into our essential first nature, which is source consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as we do that, and it's not spirit as such, it's soul, because
Yeah.
each individual soul has a different set of vibrations which bring with it its innate abilities and skills, right? And I think so there is some sort of a purpose, but it's not like you've got to go down there and become a scientist and do that. It's almost like the purpose is you have to turn your head around, look inwards, and feel what is it that I'm really good at and really enjoy doing. And then it's using that flow and that feeling then to guide your life then. Right. See, I'm on
Yeah.
one. I've like done the Pope lecture thing early on. Quick, say something.
Well, we're coming to Christmas, and Christmas is cross mass, and cross mass is compass. And they did speak of this time coming, many eras. Many ancient texts also speak of this time because they knew we were coming. And I say this a lot, but they really, they knew we were coming. So how did they know we were coming? But they knew we were coming and they're waiting for us. So now they're coming closer. This mucus is no coincidence with the meteors we've just had and the comets. So they're raining in on us. They're giving us more. If you have if you haven't feng shui the body, the mucus comes up because we're trying to get that in and let that go. And if you're not staying on top of your own ship and keeping it running properly, it just has malfunctions. But it's not just our bodies. We're seeing it in the cars, the washing machine, the fridge, our fountain, and it's happening in wildlife as well. It's not just one thing, it's across the board. It's just that our program mind doesn't want to link it all up. Well, it's all linked up, let me tell you. It's so fine-tuned in our house that we just go, that's it, that's it, that's it, that. But and we don't sort of dwell on it and we don't make a big deal about it, but it definitely is that. And it's just you can't. Plus, then you have all the fog. We've had a lot of fog. Um, so that's kind of as soon as the fog comes in, we lose a puppy. It affects the young, the really young, and the really old. And this is what we're seeing with, neighbors and stuff we're hearing on the outskirts. The other thing is when the fog comes in, you hear the sirens through all the hills, but then nothing for a while. So it is in our face. This disclosure has already happened. Now we all have to walk it through and be guides for our family. And if you do have some hint of what we're going on about, Dr. Joe and I, run with it in yourself. You don't have to run with our story, but run with it in yourself and uh, not be so hard on yourself and realize it's all about sense. Come to senses. That's it. That's the only point, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says. It's about your feelings only, and go from there because your feelings are your angels, your guides. It's your compass, and it's there to bring about for you. Yeah.
Total. See, I don't think that I think people are born sensitive, people like ourselves.
Mm.
There's a purpose behind it, I think. But because we're so sensitive and we sort of beam down, if you like, or incarnate or jump dimensions or however the hell that works, we sort of come down as way showers, really. And it's almost as if we bring some future information into this now moment or in this 3D reality, right? In order to sort of express it and say, well, this is how I see it and this is how I feel it. Now, Elsa, I've done this for years and years and years in medicine, right? And they've basically just laughed at me, right? And I'm over all that now,
Yeah.
because it's coming true. And now I'm talking about, right, big posh words coming up now. I've said
Oh.
chromato-optogenetics that many times, and people say to me, well, what does it mean? I'll say chromato, it really means to do with light. And then I get in my ear, and I get this from like I don't know who it is speaking to me because I don't get a picture of them as such, but I get clear information that comes through, and it seems to come through different channels, however the hell that works. But I get, what does chromato mean or chromatic? And I say, well, I know that it means of light. And I get, yes, but Joe, chromatic, there's also a chromatic scale on the piano, isn't there? Right. And I go, oh, yes, that's right. So isn't it about sound and light, Joe? Right. And can I say, Joe, that chromatooptogenetics is the use of sound and light in order to change the way DNA expresses itself. But it's through the mediation of water. Joe, this is so important. Tell them all that this is all about water, right? And I've had loads and loads of stuff about water, but not only is it about water, it's about magnetohydrodynamics. And I go, well, all right. Give us a clue then. What are you? So, Joe, everyone's talking about electromagnetic, but try and introduce them to magnetoelectric, because as the heart opens, the sacred feminine energy will come through and it's magnetic. And the more that the heart opens, the more that the sacred feminine will come through to clear and to heal and to disentangle the obstructions of the misalignment. And I think, okay, hang on, just slow down. And there's something called the string theory, Joe. Well, this is not the string theory. This is like the pipe theory. It's almost like the pipes have been blocked and this energy is coming through now under high pressure to de-obstruct the blockages. And it essentially, as the blockages become de-obstructed, more and more energy will come into people. And at first, they won't be able to emotionally process it because it's coming in that quickly. But show them, Joe, that there are simple breathing techniques whereby they can slow down the speed of information processing and they can get more of a handle on it. So in the end, Joe, tell them this. And I get, okay, what? Tell them what? Just become aware of your breathing. Over to you, Elsa.
Such big words. I can't fit them on my page. um, so Chrome is to reflect as well. Chrome's a very good reflect. It's almost like a mirror, which is very interesting. Matic is matter, and um, matter is so the angle. So it's pretty. If I origin word it, it goes back like what you said. It's a reflecting of the matter and in the water. If you flip these words upside down, matter and water, it's matter, water, matter, mother. Water carries the memory and the code, but you got to ground it. So you got to have those two. This is where AI can't get in. They have been trying to develop something in this time frame to continue their existence in another way, but it did. I don't feel like it was successful. I think they're kind of what you're seeing with AI at the moment is kind of they're kind of at a stall. They couldn't take it to the air, the water stage. They were trying to make it in the skin and all this sort of stuff. But it really is in the matter and the water, and our vessels are able to carry this very easily. Because we can do this, we can change. And it is a frequency, but like you said with the pipes, it's got calcium on it. And the calcium on this pipe as our journey has been the last few decades has been building up. And so the air coming through these pipes has become littler and littler, and the light in these pipes like a flute. So you can't really play the flute, and it's not sounding or ringing true because it's all calcified. So now you got, I see my old pupple banging his pipe, trying to get all the tobacco out, swearing a little bit, and then he's banging the pipe, and now he's got to blow it like Popeye. But we're coming back now on the pipe, and now we're starting to find our true ring, our true tune, and we're tuning up and we're going back. So all the calcium as we're going back and we're seeing it sort of break off and float off is the confirmation for us of, and that's what I keep saying. Everything that called me a quacker up to this point, now we're respinning, and I'm going, that when they called me that, look at that's the proof that others need. I don't need the proof because I've been through it, but that seems to be the proof or the show for others to help them through their process. And I'm trying to bring some form of sense to what's been going on, just besides our feelings. I'm going, okay, it's part of the show. It can't be this amazing with dovetailing and everything with everyone around the world and our family and history. It can't be this amazing for no reason. It's wanting to be a show. And it's not that I'm performing it because who plans on having 8 children? It's just happened this way. And so then, if our astrologer knew it way back then, it's mapped in the stars. So there is a plan. Feel a little bit annoyed that, like you said, I signed on the dotted line. Can't remember it. Trying to can't erase it. But it definitely seems to be a show. It of ourselves, not of it. You can't be someone else's show either. And we do see this happen. It just doesn't look or sound great. I mean, I look at you said you brought up the news, and I turned on the news yesterday to see what is happening in that world, and newsreaders look ridiculous. They even their voice. Oh my gosh, I'm trying. I try. It's not in judgment. I just go seriously. How can you? How can you listen to this frequency in their voice and believe it, and how their eye contact is and everything? Wow. So if
No,
I'm feeling that,
no, I agree. More and more and more, I feel less part of the human race. But I
yeah,
know in me water, as they say, that this is about restoring humanity. It's restoring our humanity. It's getting our feet firmly planted on the ground, getting our hands in the dirt and in the mud and in the soil. And it's really bringing this energy down to earth. Because I used to think that enlightenment and ascension and all that was all about going into the cosmos and then ascending into, but I can see now that it seems to be exactly the opposite now. This is all
Mm.
about embodiment and also expression. So what I keep getting is the light body or the soul or the Merkaba or the Merkava or the Merkaba or whatever that thing is, right? The soul, right? It's got a 12 potential sort of template, really. And that's trying to sort of infiltrate this physical body. But because we've been so stressed and tense and on the defensive and on the fight and flight for such a long time, our muscles are all contorted, you know. And this is the thing.
Mm.
Because part of my job is I do energy healing and massage and stuff like that. Loads and loads and loads of people have got problems with their head, neck, and shoulders at the moment, right? And that's because the left pectoral muscle, that's the seat or the site where we compress and contract first, because it's the site that compresses and protects the heart, right? And once that compresses, it almost brings the shoulder round and we get out of alignment then and it starts all postural problems. There's loads of people that have got left-sided problems now. So it's the pectoral muscle here. It's the throat on this side here. It sometimes goes up into tension into their jaw. Sometimes their left eye comes up with it and the headache. So all left-sided. But also it will travel down the left side of the body. It will go through the sacral and root chakras and down to the legs. So if you're getting any of these things, it just means that your heart's closing down because it's going into fight and flight, whether you're consciously aware of it or it's some unconscious processing that's going on. So if you feel the tension, stop if you can, not unless you're driving or something like that. But if you can feel the tension that comes in there, stop, take a step back, stretch it out again because the arm sort of contracts a little bit as well. And then try and let your shoulders go and relax and then ask the question, why am I feeling tense here? And Elsa, to me, this is like a lecture now, but to me, this is about if you open your heart up, your innate intelligence or your intuition will say, turn left now because you keep going right. And as soon as you turn left, you get an influx of new energy or new power or new whatever, right? And then you go forward then onto the next challenge that awaits you after a certain plateau period where you think you've cracked it. When you get that one and you've done something that neutralizes your karma and you go all flowy and you think, I've become enlightened, and then the next day you wake up and the next one's waiting for you, you know.
Well, it's funny because you said this side, and I'm going, hang on, I've got it on this side. Is this because I'm upside upside down? So I bet it pretty much is what you said, but I have that exact feeling on this side come over me. And it is at those moments where I'm more in my head as well. Like I'm trying to think my way out of it. And I go, that's real funny, else. You've never been a thinker. So why start now? I'm going, that's so rude.
Very good.
Um, but to be chromatic also is automatic. It's like matic is a matic is a machine's process through it. It's a time thing as well. It has the word tick in it, so it's the tick tock of the process. So it's to have a process must have a cycle. So that cycle thing happens. And so you, like you said, it comes up, you deal with it, and then it comes around again in another version. Like these meteors, these have been coming for many years. They, well, I'm going to delve into religion a little here. Christmas is it's a show. Christmas is a show. It's not what it's many been many things, but this time of year they have deliberately tried to make us busy. Christmas is about the masses aligning with their cross to accept the information coming through. if you are in busy mode trying to please others, does this sound like Christmas? Make everything color coordinated. That sounds a bit like me. Um, you can't have that present. It's not color coordinated with the tree. So that would be, the fixation. So instead of me being allowing and the energies coming through, I'm fixated on color coordinating the tree and having the right food, having the right people come, all this. I'm just talking about all the movies I've seen and stuff. And then you have the anti-climax of Christmas, which is Boxing Day, where everyone's eaten too much. And so you really are throwing your body out of whack. You are,
Yeah.
because you're also coming into a concentrated time where you're forcing all these different ions, meaning other humans, together in a small space, so they're all in each other's field in that state. If you had to cause chaos, you don't need a war, just create Christmas. That'll do it. This is what they did. And so you can still enjoy Christmas. I'm not saying don't do Christmas or a Christmas is a bad thing. Like, that's fine. You can still enjoy the whole idea of Christmas. But if you have this in the back of your mind about allowing this energy of the meteors, their royal rain come in on you, it might make things a little bit more amazing for you. Um, it might give you more understanding with the mucus, the letting go, might make you more prepared. And it might make this year for you moving forward into the next year amazing, because if any time was a time to accelerate, it's now, right now. You c- that you have the sun and these solar flares every single day doing higher and higher and bigger and bigger. It's calling us. It's calling us to be greater versions of ourselves. And if you can have this in the back of your mind while you're doing all your festives, you're going to be in the field of all your relatives. And if you have this little vision or version of what we're talking about in the back of your mind, and you have this calmness, like Dr. Joe said, relax and stuff, that's going to spill off onto all your relatives, all your neighbors, all your friends. It's a Christmas. It's a Christmas. It's a compass of all coming together. Or you can do it the old way and test that one out for a while. But you won't find me there. I've tested it out too many times, and it's a pain in the butt. And yeah.
I like in some areas at Christmas, they just give each other a piece of fruit, right? In some
Mm.
Scandinavian countries, or a book. And they all sit down together and read to one another at Christmas because it's supposed to be a peaceful time and stuff like that. And I've gone through, I could not bear Christmas unless I was absolutely drunk out of my mind. It was one of the worst times of the year, and I had to drink to be around other people. But unfortunately, when I drank, all sorts of crap came out then. It was always a time of tension, and stuff like that. But I look now and I see it happening more and more. It's more intense this year than I've ever seen it. And I think part of that is a distraction because I think there's such a lot of stuff going on outside of the normal view. There's all sorts of things going on, and maybe that's all part to distract us. I mean, we've got Netflix is basically free now, Prime Video. You can watch any film that you've ever known from any era and stuff like that, just to take you away, right, from actually what's going on outside of that box. So we're almost like sucked into one box and we're missing what's going on in all these other sort of external boxes and things. And most people who listen to this will understand what we're saying. But my view is now is out of the head into the heart. And it's the focus. And I call it the F off approach to health and happiness. And the F off stands for not what you think it stands for. Focus on feelings first. Because once you're into your audio visual components, it's almost like you can be easily controlled and regulated by external forces. However, if you're more in tune with your body, you can feel yourself being drawn away. And that's the important thing because most people are already living in out of body experiences. And my view is that we need to get back into our body, back into our human, back to the ground, and then we can make clearer. See, it's lecture mode today. Cleaner, clearer, healthier, less harmful and destructive choices. And I honestly feel, Elsa, that what's going on now, because there's all sorts of nanobots, nanorobotics, nanotechnology, and all this going on within our own plasma, and it's also sort of corrupting the water in and the plasma in our own bodies. If we can feel that that's happening much earlier, then we can keep doing. I mean, I got because I get this all the time. This is how this thing speaks to me, or these speak to me. Tell them, Joe, this is not just about detoxing. This is about decontamination, right? Get them to understand that they must look after their physical body first and foremost, because if they become ill, then it's actually selfish, right? And you become a burden on those people around them. So tell them now it's not selfish, it's self-care. And to stop running round after other people and to start using the energy to clean up their own act. And I go, well, I can't possibly say that to them. What will they think of me? And then I get, you don't care what they think of you. Just tell them. So I've just told you. There you go. Over to you.
So you have water and matter, and so say you're doing a parasite cleanse to keep them at bay, um, at your compass point, your place of entry, your spleen. And so that means you're coming down from up here, down from the pineal gland, which we live in the penal colony, by the way. Have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
bring that one up.
yeah.
Anyway, so you're coming down past the heart, the dorsal, and then down into the spleen, the splendid. You're meant to feel. It's called splendid. They used to say in Shakespearean days to be good spleened. That instead they didn't say good-hearted. They said good spleen. That's what they used to say. It's this is where it contains the four humors, and this is how they used to, because they knew that that was your compass. So that was the four wet things in you: phalgum, bile, blood, and there's one other one. I always forget, but they're four different colors, and that was your compass. So you come down to your spleen, the true cross of us, and you rest there, and that's heaven, Eve. He in Eve. And then this starts to release the program of separation of the male and the female, because you realize he in Eve, it's the chicken and the egg. He was always in Eve, and Eve needs him to get here, and he needs. Yeah. So we're together in heaven. So now you just break down the masculine and feminine, they're working together. And then you can start saying clearly, you start breaking down all the other stories we've been told about history. And you realize you don't need peer group pressure to make decisions. And you can see clearly because you're not carrying around all that goop. Because carrying around all that goop, it's really heavy and exhausting. It's not, life isn't as tiring when you don't have to carry around all their stories because they're not your stories. Your stories are really easy and light, and you just sort of pull at them and pick them out when you need them. A bit like that um, wizard who pulls out the memories in his brain. Um, he's got a really long hat. He's off Harry Potter.
All right.
Um, yeah, but he pulls out memories out of his brain. You can collect those when you need them. They're like the records, right? But if you're carrying around hundreds of your friends and relatives' story on you, that's my family DNA, that's this, that's that. Or you're just continuing it.
Yeah.
And it's not your story, so it's heavy and complicated and goopy. And whereas if you just come back to, like you said, the star seed that you were here, which came to that place of entry at your compass, and go from there, it's a lot cleaner, it's a lot lighter. This is light being,
I,
and you'll handle the solar flares. You'll be able to handle it better.
Couldn't agree more. It's the art of fighting without fighting. It's actually using the energy, right, for positive purposes. So it needs to be transformed through an open and
Mm,
flowing heart. And that's the problem. Other than that, it goes, the solar flares activate the solar plexus. But if we don't understand how to actually transform the energy, it goes from the solar plexus, misses out the heart, and batters us in the head. And in the head,
mm.
we've got these two, left and right brain, masculine and feminine, right? They're actually in cognitive dissonance. That means they're knocking shit out of each other all the time because they can't come to a decision. That's why, as you say, if we bring both of those down into the heart, it becomes level, which is LEVE, so that's matter, antimatter. So it's that place of neutrality. And in that place of neutrality, that's where you get the solution to the next obstacle that comes in. So it's in that quiet space that we be given the information. So this is C act, right? So it's acting upon information received, but only from that neutral place of peace and quiet,
Yeah,
and deep and crisp and even. So there's something
yeah.
out of the. So
Well,
I agree entirely
mm.
with you, but once we're distracted and back into our what I call our audio visual apparatus, our left and right brain can't see eye to eye, right? We've almost got to be blinded, right, to what's going on in order that we can have our vision restored from a different place. And I see that the third eye is connected directly to an open and flowing heart. And that's where the intuitive information comes through to guide us and navigate us through what's going on.
Well, I just heard you say the word level, and I didn't realize it, but chromatic made me understand the word level. So a level is Eve with the two angles on the end, the ticks on the end. So you have this angel and this angel on either side of a level, which could be the masculine and feminine. It could be the two old Muppet Show old
Yeah,
men up
yeah,
in cracking jokes at you all the time, but they up here, and then you bring them down here, and it just this okay, you got the Muppet Show going on up here, but you come, which is puppets, by the way. You come down here, and it just becomes a little bit more even, and yes, okay, solar flares come in and rumble the water or make the water move, but then it comes back to water always finds its own place,
it is. It
which is
finds
the
it.
four wet ones, right? So how can you have those four wet ones in you? It can't be at bubbling point all the time. If it is at bubbling point all the time, it's going to go to the knots in you. And the knots are where mucus is built up and it spins. Yeah. And the spinning is, and I know because I get knots in my neck, and that's the spot. That's where, that's the blockage. And so, um, that's like, it looks like where they cut the limb off a tree or something. And if you can go to that spot, you can actually work on it
It's
in
called
yourself.
trigger points, believe it or not, in
Oh,
musculoskeletal. It's called a
another
myofascial
big
trigger.
word.
It's called a myofascial trigger point. Right.
Oh,
And if you put your finger or your thumb on it for 30 seconds, then let go, it's called ischemic compression. That just means that temporarily you stop the blood flow. So it builds up behind it. And when you take your finger off, the blood then whoosh, flutters it through and it
yeah.
de-obstructs it. But it sometimes needs an elbow. If it's a deeply ingrained thing and it's chronic and it's been there for lifetimes, sometimes it needs an elbow to really press quite hard on it. You know, there's so much. I mean, connective tissue is important. The way that the water flows through. Just let me talk about the fourth phase of water, because this is the thing that they've tried to keep us away from, right? And the fourth phase of water, it's called EZ water or EZ water. It's called exclusion zone water because it's a superconducting liquid. Right. And what happens is, as the solar energy comes in, right, it actually works through our connective tissue, right, through the meridians and the nadis, and that stimulates the electrical system underneath, which then stimulates the organs and the muscle. Now, if the muscle fibers are in chronic tension, then obviously pain is simply a reflection of a blockage in the flow of this free flowing energy. So things like Tai Chi, massage, connective tissue massage, aromatherapy, qigong, running, swimming, all these things to try and get the energy moving brings more clarity into our mind. However, because some of the tension is really obstructed from a long time ago, sometimes it needs external manipulation by an expert in order to realign our posture as well. Because there are certain muscles, I see I'm on one. So there are certain muscles that are called anti-gravity muscles, right? And so postural, most of us are posturally misaligned, even from a skeletal point of view. So it starts with our bones, and you mentioned calcium before. And then when our bones, we've got the minerals, and then we've got the molecules, then we've got the atoms, then we've got the vibrations. That everything's connected. And how do you know that you're out of alignment? Because you can feel it. I'm sorry I'm going on tonight, but it's like I feel like I'm giving like a lecture of, well, what do we need to do? Learn how to do some massage, right? Start a group where you can massage one another appropriately and all that sort of thing. Do some stretching exercises, right? And all that, because I can imagine some of the people I know. Oh, well, anyway, my head's gone now. I'll pass it back over to you to say something and get me out of this loop.
So you said the word organ, and organ is see that crazy dude in the dungeon playing the organ. He's got a hunchback, but he's playing with passion. And an organ is to vibrate out and create and for others to enjoy. So it's like a gift. And now we have to start using our organ this way. It's been great that you all want to follow spiritual people. That's fantastic. It's great that you understand the Trinity. That's great. Now bring the Trinity, the three, and the four together and start playing them for you and your family members. Start using it. Stop waiting for disclosure because that ain't coming. It's already happened. Disclosure is waiting for you. You can keep waiting, but you'll wait till, you'll get to your deathbed and you'll go, I'm still waiting for disclosure. You won't see it unless you're doing it.
I agree.
Yeah. So it's the gift of the organ you have to give and receive, give and receive. It's the act. So, and this is, our family keeps saying so because my family, they hear me talk about all this. They don't want to hear it through the day. They're like, we hear it enough. So it's not like we all sit around talking about all this. We talk about other things other than that if anything, they rather not hear about it. But they do ask me, is it helping people? Are people getting a different reaction? And maybe I don't see it in the numbers or anything, but I feel it.
Yeah.
I honestly, like you said, in my bones, in my water, I can feel this working. And I don't need to see it in materialize in numbers or anything like that. But I can feel that this is working and I feel a calling to continue. Otherwise, I would just stop. Enough's enough.
Yeah.
But like I spoke about on our last interview, and I've been speaking with Dr. Joe because I just want you to know, Dr. Joe has helped me this week a lot with with a family occurrence we had last week to the day. Yeah, so our son had his silver ute go off like a cliff or a ditch, and then 20, less than 24 hours. So that happened at 9:30 on a huge solar flare. He got lightheaded, and then the next day at 9:30 at night, so we had 9:30 in the morning, 9:30 at night, we heard a huge tree and we had to go and assist a young couple, and they were in a silver ute, like my son, on it in a ditch held up by a tree. We had to go and help them. And I thought, what is all this about? We had sort of these weird ET type people there as well in the white car. And again, it only went for 1 hour. It was chaotic. It wasn't for me. It was more for our family members to see. It was exactly the same as our last car accident 2 years ago. I asked the neighbor how one neighbor, when it had all finished, she turned up and I said to him, how many accidents have you seen here? And he said, your one and this one here. I mean, I've seen many along the whole road, but at this spot, just your two. And I knew when I heard him say that, that this was part of the show. So, so what do you do with it? The word ditch means Christmas.
Ah,
It means cross. And this is what you've been talking about since we got on. It's about understanding the the cross of us. It's not enough to just be in act anymore. We have to be spirit. The word serious and science means to not be in jest, to be depressed and to be low. And when you read these words and you go, really, that's what serious means? So to not be in jest is asking us not to be in spirit. So to be in Sirius or Cyrus, Sirius science is asking us only to be in act on default. To be in foolish, silly, jest, smiling, laughing, lifted, playful, you're asking spirit to come in.
yeah.
And this is where we're coming in. We're bringing it down from our head, being so serious, and we're coming down to here. And the serious ones don't get it because they are being told to be serious, and that's okay too. But yeah, we would look completely foolish to them. We would look like the jesters, and the jesters are actually just to be a jester. You had to be like a magician. You had to know how to put the show on in a way where you were clever about it because you'd understand both sides. You could understand the audience so that you could put the show on and you could be playful with it. Um, it's kind of hard watching someone be angry all the time. It wears out. It's sort of almost like an adrenaline thing. It just burns out. Whereas to be playful and light about things, it just keeps seems to keep going.
That's why I describe myself as seriously light-hearted. And it doesn't mean to be stupid, and that's why
Yeah.
I think I've sort of got an influence from the Heyoka clan, because Heyoka are the Indian jokers, who are the jesters, who are the medicine men, who all that. So I feel that, I mean, and whether that's true, like we were saying before, who knows what's true, who knows what's false. It's a feeling that I have that from a very, very early age, I've always been a joker because my auntie and my mother would say, Joseph, be serious, will you? Right? And I couldn't. And there's pictures of me as a kid, about 5 or 6 years of age, pulling googly eyes and faces when we were trying to have family photographs and they all wanted to be serious and all that. And I couldn't. So I've basically, I say things like, I'm not laughing with you, I'm laughing at you. And they go, don't you mean the other way around? And I say, no, right? And they go, well, surely that's not really nice. And I go, well, you see, so I seem to get away with murder, right? Especially in the university environments where I've got to really be careful about some of the stuff I say. And sometimes I get, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to be myself. You know what I mean? And I do get away with murder. And most of the students think the world of me. Thank
Yeah.
God you're normal. That's what they say. Thank God you're a normal person. And that seems to open up something in them where they can come and talk to me about their stuff. You know what I mean? Most of the time I'm
Yeah.
thinking, get away from me. But it seems to attract them and they can talk about deep and serious things then if they want to. So I
Yeah.
know that I'm here to take the piss out of people, whether they like it or not. Because if you get disturbed by a word, then something wrong there, really. So all that sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. The society that I feel we live in now is the other way round there, where you say something wrong and it mortally offends them, and I'm thinking, oh, for Christ's sake, you know, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, if you're fully in yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone says to you. It really doesn't. So if, like you said, if that is triggering you, instead of saying, look what you did to me, look what you said, just go, okay, where's the niggle in me? And then
Exactly.
treat them like a gift, that annoying person. And because they're reflecting for you, say thank you for, well, you don't have to say this, but you can sort of do it in your head. Thank you for coming and annoying me because now I'm seeing it in me. And that'll be a knot point. And so you clean up all your knots so that the ET energy comes through, or the galactics with the comets, and they come through in like fleets of ships, and they'll rain down on us and they won't get stuck in your knots anymore because you got rid of it. Well, not rid of it, but you help to respin it again, and so that it's not a blockage, it's a flow. Uh, so if that means being giggly and laughing and being silly about things to let the flow happen, and this is life changing, life saving advice.
I,
This is disclosure. This is how you change the systems. This is how you change societies, is with this. And you go, how? And you go, well, you start doing it at your Christmas party. You can practice because you'll have a big group of relatives around you. Practice it and see how it works. And then you start to practice these things, and it really does work. Because I notice, when you're grumpy, no one wants to be around you. I don't get much bird contact at all. Even the flies don't like me. But, when I'm lighthearted, they're all chatting. Yeah. Richard's laughing because everyone likes me, loves me. Oh, thank you. He's, he's being very nice.
oh, good,
Um,
good. See,
yeah.
miracles do
He's,
happen.
oh, um, yeah. So look, and what I love about our family is they'll go out and do things. And so they'll go out fishing or shopping, and then they come back and they share the story with me, and they'll say, oh, it's changing. Oh, it's this. Oh, this person's coming to us. And it's a confirmation. The confirmation. And then if we hear a story from them that has a bit of a niggle to it, we'll say, well, how does it make you feel? So it's like a quick debriefing. And then we'll go, oh, you've got a niggle. Like, you've got something to deal with. Or maybe they brought up something true in you. Deal with it, get on with it. And you don't hold on to anything. It just helps to keep it flowing in you. Yeah. So
I agree.
it
I agree.
works.
I've just
It
got
really does.
Christmas tide. Christmas tide
Well,
for
it
the
comes in
yeah,
and goes out. It doesn't
yeah,
have
yeah,
it. Well, the Christmas tide is about them coming in, a big wave, and it feels like a tsunami at the moment, I have to say.
yeah. It does.
Because it feels alien, like these feelings that are coming through, and they're feelings I've never had before.
Yeah,
And I'm hearing this with many people, and they're going, what the hell's this about? And it's alien energy coming in on us that we've never felt before. Don't analyze it because you're not going to know what it means if it's foreign, foreign.
yeah,
Fours, it's for the fours of us, fours in our compass, the four humus, and it's raining on us. Don't try and work it out because it's a need to know basis. Just let it come in and keep that in the back of your mind so that you don't think you're going crazy, and you'll move through this now in a way that will not only assist yourself, but all your family members, all your pets, all your plants, your cars, and your washing machine. Even if you just did it for a monetary back. Because, I'll see a code come up on the washing machine. I go, really? And it will be the same code name as the
yeah,
comet. And I go, okay. Um, and I'll see it come up again. And I go, okay, I acknowledge you. Please don't break because I need you over the Christmas period. Please don't break. I understand your message. Is that enough? And then it works, the washing machine. So we come to an understanding. So here's me talking to my washing machine, but it carries water. It's got
See,
oil and
I
water in it, you
I
know?
behave like this all the time. I'm on my own most of the day, from the office working, always talking to myself, but not talking to myself. And this week I've had all sorts of different dimensions in, all sorts of different things. I've had the Arcturians in, right? And people have said I can see the Arcturians with you. Well, I don't get that. I get feelings and different sorts of information. But big this week has been the Pleiadians, right? Especially the Seven Sisters. And then I get things like words come in like Sophia wisdom. And then I get taken back then to ancient Greece and to the oracle, who was feminine anyway. And I get all this. What are you trying to say? This is the time of the great mother, Joe. Right. And I know, Elsa, and this, some people might think I'm cracking up, but it doesn't matter because it means something really deep to me. Right. That I was born to serve the mother. Right. And it wasn't just the mother, it was the mother in various forms. But I had to almost go through a situation where I was raised by the false matrix, the false mother, in order to experience all the feelings, all the containment, all the emotional blackmail and manipulation that goes with that one. Because that's what the mummy's curse is, really is. Be a good boy for your mummy and everything will be well. And it was the greatest trap that I ever fell in. I don't know what I'm saying this for, but it's the whole point is that I know loads and loads of men in high political places, right, who have been nurtured and brought up in that way by a dominating and emotionally manipulative mother, right? And that's caused such a lot of trouble. And this new energy that's coming in, it's almost like saying that mother doesn't know best, but this one does. And this one that's coming in now is saying, be an individual, think for yourself, know thyself, because that's what it says at the Oracle at Delphi, know thyself and forget what your mother's telling you. No, see, I've had to get this out because I see more than anything else that it's almost like my life, I chose everything that I thought would please my mum. Right. Now, I know that my
Oh,
mother didn't know this, but in the end, it wasn't my mother's problem. It was the fact that I was trying to please my mum at depth. And that's representative of the deepest attachment that all humans go through. Right. They are
oh, that is just
over to
brilliant.
you.
That's brilliant. Because in our household, if something goes wrong, even if I'm nowhere near them, it's my fault. It's instantly but how can it be my fault if they're 2 hours drive away? Look, this is something your mother would say. Like, I'm just like, but I'm not even there. And I'm okay with it. And I said, if I'm that point, that's fine for me. And I'm okay with it. And if anything, it just shows me how much you love me. And that really annoys them. They don't want to hear that one. Um, which I find even more entertaining. But if something's missing, it's instantly my fault. And that's fine. And I'm using simple day-to-day things as an example, but this then becomes deep emotional things as well. And so remember that you came here alone, even though you came through the mothership, you came here alone. So you don't need anyone. You came here alone. You're here to play nicely with the others. That's what you're here to do. Play nice with the others and create because you are a crate of tar. If you are not creating in your create of tar, what are you doing? Because if you're copying and cloning, it has a timeline to it. That's the human race. You become like AI. It has a timeline to it. You become like some of the ancient alien DNA that's coming to an end. They knew that this time was coming. That's why they're so dramatic with everything, is because that's the human race, not in us. The human race is in them
I agree.
because they knew it. They've had this happen on realms or civilizations before. And that's why they did this whole play out. What's different about this play out is that the clever humans are using all their intelligence. This is very different. This hasn't happened before in this way. And so we're able to say thank you for what they've shown us, but we're able now to use that with our senses. And a lot of the ones that they've done this with before didn't do this because they couldn't change. But we can because we understand that it's the frequency and like how you change a song on your iPod or something, that's how quickly you can change.
Yeah.
And you can see you'll play this song, you feel this way. You play the next song and you hate that song. It's so annoying. Why is it okay? Well, even use songs. Why does that song make you annoyed and this one doesn't? And you can use it, you could practice on your song list before you go to Christmas with all your relatives. Yeah, like a training. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go through my song list and your song list before we meet all the relatives turn up so then I can handle them better. I know this sounds silly, but how you react, because if you react badly to a relative at Christmas time, say, because this is what we're going into, you kind of have to wear it all day and
Yeah.
then you have to wait till you reset the next day. And so you might miss alignments. Then you might have to do a whole loop again. And this is where I say this is where it sucks because you know, how many times do you have to go through that process? So if you can put what Dr. Joey's understand, stop and come back to here, go back to like listening to that and then listen to the songs again, go, oh, that actually now I like that song.
It's the power, honestly, but in the beginning was the word, because it's the word spoken into the firmament that created the light. And once I started to see that, the sound and tones are so powerful. To go back to muscles, there's a complete difference between muscle tension and muscle tone. And the difference is flexibility, and that's the difference because muscle tension brings with it an automatic, almost like technical thing, which seems pretentious and false, right?
Mm.
But tone's got flexibility into it, and we can put our individuation or individuality into that then. And so there's some room for expansion and contraction. I don't know what I'm talking about now, but just to say, right, I don't know what I was going to say next. Oh yeah, may the fours be with you, O God, to create the fifth element. And I always get this when I'm talking to you is I get like a globe, and in the middle of the globe is the cross, but it can be turned into different directions. And when you sit in the middle of the cross, like the astronaut steering the spaceship, you can actually choose, put on the dial the direction that you're going to go. So you can go north by northeast, and then you can go through that portal and you can basically travel to anywhere that you want to go in the universes and stuff like that. So we're almost being trained in astronautical techniques now from just sitting. So whether that's called astral travel or not, I don't know. But it's almost as if there's going to be like a whole body projection now, and we'll actually be living, or we are living, in different sort of dimensions all at the same time. So that's what's coming into me now. I'm starting to get some understanding of dimensional challenges. But what I got was forget quarks, because quarks are part of quantum consciousness, and remember quirks. And I go, please explain to me what you mean. And I got Joe, it's the human quirkiness that will save the world, right? Because AI does not understand jokes. It doesn't understand colloquialisms. It doesn't understand slang, right? Because they're trying to get us to speak in exactly the same language now. The King's English, it's called now, right? Because when we type stuff now, even in Microsoft Word, it comes in to say, don't say it like that, say it like this, you know.
Mm.
And the Romans knew this. They call it scansion, and they knew all about how to speak and how to actually pronounce things and stuff like that. So this has been going on for a long. It's fascinating. Been going on for a long, long time.
Okay, now where are we up to for time? Should I talk to you about the Romans or are we
Yeah.
way too,
No,
you
no.
want to hear about?
Let's say we've got about another 10, 15 minutes if you're up for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could talk to you all day long. Um, you'll probably like fall asleep though after an hour. That's what most people do. I'm like poking them, going, "Are you awake?" Um, So Sirius C, um, the Romans, the Romans are ETs.
Yeah.
They came on a big comet and has a lot to do with the era where you see the dog feeding the two sons. These two sons that came, they said they have a natural birth. When you read this, it sent chills up my spine, and they've been cloning us many times, different versions of us with mythology. This is why we have all the creatures with different heads. And so, the dog, you're gonna you're gonna love this. It's deep. So the dolphin is a sea pig. The pig is the pig, but in walking form. Pig and dog is the same thing. Many cultures won't eat the pig. Pig and dog are the same. They somehow, from the ant version of us, the fruit fly who likes sugar, that version, they had to make us giants. So they had to use the hide. So they created skin. Skin is hide. And then they had to sew it. And you'll see a few Egyptian um, deities who their name is So This.
Yes.
And it's the head of a dog, but it can also be a pig. Um, Pig abattoirs are going to be a very big topic soon in the media, let me tell you. If they're not already, it's graphic, so you don't have to go there, but I'm just saying. Um, but the hide is us. It's to hide. Who's it hiding? I don't need to hide. Who's it hiding? It's so that they could become the great harvest in us. So this has been orchestrated in our organs to this point. And people go, no, we haven't been tricked. The word matrix is serious. It's the animal womb. And so matrix is the mother being tricked, which is what you said. It's about the mother. This is all about the mother. It's not about a female mother, meaning me, or it's not about an identity. It's about placement. And um, once we can get over the ego of ourselves and understand that this has been played out in us, and yes, we might have been foolish to fall for it, now be foolish to unfall for it and come into jest. Come into jest. And I am so grateful that I've met you because you allow me to be jestful.
Yeah.
And through me being jestful with you and others, we can share this and it will grow in others. And so you're going to have a whole heap of people, all your audience at their Christmas parties, having Christmas going, what the hell's wrong with Bob over there? Or Jim, what
Yeah.
is he going on about? He, I tell you what, gee, he looks young. Gee, he looks great. But I can't understand a word he's saying. And but I like what he's saying, or it will trigger, it will create a little spark in others. You can't help them, but you can inspire them. And so you might get some rude letters after Christmas Day.
I'll be
Like,
absolutely
huh?
made up. See, when I get with my family, I remember as children sitting round the table for Christmas, and the banter was so rapid, but the feeling was so fantastic, and I miss that a lot.
Mm.
And when I get with my kids now, they're absolutely ruthless at taking the piss out of each other. And that's what we just do. It's 2 hours, of just having a go at each other. You know, what I mean, what are you looking at, big nose, and all this sort of thing. Oh, F off, dad, and all that. And the feeling is so fantastic, right?
Mm.
But then what used to
Well, it's a
happen is
let
about,
it going, right?
pardon?
Well, it's a letting going because you're not
Absolutely.
holding on to it. You're letting go of that, and they're letting go of this, and they have a
But
laugh
it's
about it.
the laughing, and even the grandkids now, right? They're a bit at first they think, "What's going on?" And then they start to join in. That to me is what it's all about because it's almost like talking light language. It almost like it's light language and everything else, and there's movement that goes with it, and there's animation, which means that the soul is flowing and stuff like this. That to me is what real life's all about. It's about connection, but it's about flow as well. And
Yeah.
and then the mother-in-law would come in, that would all stop. It would be
Everyone
like a
goes
full stop, you know what I
crickets.
mean? It would be like, don't say
Yeah.
that, don't swear, don't say this, do this. So
Well,
yeah,
now, yeah. Well, now you have ancient information, and you can research it yourself. But you can say, oh, you want to be serious.
yeah,
Oh, you want to play that game. Oh, well, serious is the Matrix, and then you'll start seeing them go. You'll see the springs, and then the smoke come out their ears. And then they'll start to feel, then the whole spin on themselves will come back, and then they'll actually go, hang on, I'm missing out on something. And you'll say, yeah, you've been misled. And that's okay, because now we're misleading it back this way. So we can play the flute nicely without all the calcium and goop on it. And
I
that's
see
all.
that. Honestly, I see it
Yeah.
clearly. There's the false matrix and the essential primary vibration, and it's moving in like that now to
Yeah.
recombine. So the false
Well, it's shaken
matrix,
off. Well,
yeah, so being an energetic structure, right? It's been upside down and back to front, and it's almost
mm,
like moving round now. So matrix, matter, material. So almost like it's been, if you like, materialized but misaligned. And I think with everything that's
yeah.
going on, it's almost like going like this now, and one of them's turning round the other way, and it's going zzz, and it's forming back together. And as that happens, more and more energy, and this is what true empowerment is, more and more energy then flows through our system. And then we get even more inspiration, which means to breathe in. Inspiration comes in, it fills our lungs up and gives us the power and the energy to go forward to create a better world or a more beautiful world
Oh.
or whatever. See that? Right.
Well, when you're laughing, what are you doing? Because when you laugh, you have to open your lungs up to laugh. Yeah, and normally I have this horrible habit in some of the family where I spit things out because I'm
Yeah.
laughing too much. Or some people wet their pants, but you're
Yeah.
letting go. You're opening up. When you're being serious, what do? You constrict
Exactly.
and you become
Exactly.
tight. When you become tight, this is triggers all the knots in your body. When you're laughing, the knots are got lots of space around them. But when you become serious, and serious means science, so they're asking you to leave your mind so they can mine you
Yeah.
and not be part of the universe. That's what the word science and university means. So, um, if you understand that, you can use, instead of being a ma tricked, you can use the tricks of the ma. That's what we're doing. That's why you said it was this journey of the mother, and now you understand the mother. So instead of now all that blame, all that goop on the mum, and now we're coming back on ourselves with the knowledge now. Now, this is where we become a higher breed. And that means this intel coming through, you'll be able to then use it in some way. And who knows what this information is, but you'll be able to use it in a great way.
Well,
Say some jokes at Christmas.
yeah, well, I get, you see, underneath what I said before about the false mother or the matrix, underneath that was fear, the fear of the mother losing what she loved. Christ, I'm nearly going to cry saying this.
Mm.
So there's deeper stuff here that goes on, you know,
Yeah.
and it's not for the child, it's for the mother to let go of the child. This is the most difficult
Mm.
thing. That's the hardest part because now I'm seeing the umbilical cord, right? And that needs to be separated because the future for humanity is about collective individuality and it's for parents, it could be dads and daughters and stuff like that, because that's an Electra thing. But this is about the parents being brave enough to let go of the child because our children are not our children. They come through us, not from us. And that's the whole
Mhm.
part because it's been up to now about ownership. And it's no longer that we've got to thine own self be true. It means you're responsible, Joe, for the how you process information, how you make choices, and the consequence of those choices, you know. And I feel, Elsa, that this is a Dr. Joe's become all serious all of a sudden, but I think that that's where the heartbreak's coming in, but it will eventually lead to complete freedom, you know.
Yeah.
Christ, I didn't know
Yeah.
that was coming out, but yeah, there you go.
Well, maybe your audience needs to hear it because what happens at Christmas? You're around your mothers, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they stir it all up in you, your mothers. It will bring up physical illnesses that haven't been around for a long time, pop up because they're around your mother, but it's okay. What the thing is like, I agree, is the mother's letting go. And this is a big one. If you can step aside and not be the resistance. So in forex trading, if you're being the resistance, they call it testing, and
yeah,
the forex trade market will keep testing that mark. Take away the resistance, right? Take away it, and then it's in chaos. It's in free fall. It's in space. It's in the full creation of this energy, and now it can find its own level ground. So instead of enforcing things on our children, which is what I would do, um, I let I I say, oh, there it is. I'm being a resistance. If I pull away, then they actually have to work it out themselves.
yeah, yeah,
It's not easy. I have to do. I'm like Miss Piggy. I bite my lip. I'm just like because I know the answer for them, or I know, but I can't give them the answer. They got to have it in their version,
yeah,
no matter
yeah,
how much you want to protect them. And you know, like with Jack disappearing for 3 years, had to just keep trusting.
yeah.
And but he came back. So I'm saying this because it works. It does work. And this doesn't just work for your mother and child. This works for couples
Yeah,
and your boss at work. Don't
yeah,
be the resistance. Let them find their own resistance. Because then the
yeah,
game's over for that
yeah.
play out, and you can have a new game, a fresh, lighter game, rather than this on constant resistant bang, bang, bang. How many times do you have to have that argument?
See, this is final thing now about my mum and me. But when I was really, really ill with the drink and trying to kill myself and stuff like that, my mum and dad went to Al-Anon, which is like the sister fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's for the people who are being affected by the person who's drinking is their behaviour. And my mum and dad got to Al-Anon, and in Al-Anon, they taught my mum and dad to detach with love, right? And that meant to say not to hold me up anymore, right? Almost to pull the rug from under my feet and allow me to hit the deck because that was the rock bottom I needed. Anyway, I was really, really ill and I was walking through Birkenhead, right? And I saw my mother, right? And she was always good for 10 quid, my mum, £10, so I could. And I said to her, Mum, I said, I swear to you, Mum, I haven't eaten for days. I'm not going to buy drink with it. I'm going to buy some food. And she said to me, Son, she said, I'm sorry, we can't help you anymore. And she turned round. Right. It always brings this up in me. She turned round and she started to walk away. And even in my illness, my head said, it's your mother. She'll turn round in a minute. And Elsa, she didn't. Right. And I felt such a snap in my heart. Right. And then the next day, I started to get better then, and all sorts of things started to happen to me. Right. Because it wasn't from, it was my mum had to let go of me. And it was not, because I talked to my mum about this, she felt so guilty about it. But she realized that some other power had to come in because she was disabling me and not enabling me. Do you see what I mean? And my emotional blackmail of her kept her trapped and my dad trapped for years and years and years. So these are deep lessons, this. And honestly feel that humanity in all its various forms is going through this now. That when you detach with somebody, right, and you've got to let them find their own feet, it's not because you don't care, it's because you care more than they realize. Because at first I hated my mother with all my heart and soul, and I'd ring her up and say, "You don't care about me." It was like The Exorcist, right? But she did, and I know that she did. But when I go and see my mum now in the home, right, she's 94 years of age. She says, "I see you haven't lost any weight then." So nothing's changed. She still tells me how to live my life, but you know what? I'm free. I'm free from the emotional attachment of caring about it, really. I don't know what all that was about, but I think some people listening to this will understand, that each soul has got its own mission or purpose and needs to find their own feet for some reason.
This is
Ooh,
such a good story. See, so you talk, I know we're wrapping things up, but so this is an anchor, and there's many different forms of anchors. Anchors can be cemeteries, or anchors can be a memory. Anchors are an ankh. An ankh is an Egyptian mirror, and it's also so reflection. You see a lot of the drawings where they put the mirror down inside themselves. But it's a mirror. It's a mirror of yourself. So you've got ankh, her, ankh, her. So you're seeing yourself in her. And so when you hear this term her, it's not her as in separating the masculine and feminine. Her is him. Him is her. They just fooled us with the language.
yeah,
Her and
yeah,
him is her. Sing him, her, sing him. It's the same. We're the one. So you get the mirror, the ankh, you see yourself, you see your mother, you see your father, you see the daughter, you see the son. You all had to use each other to get here. That's okay.
yeah.
Now run you, not run your mother, not run your father, not run your son, just run you and marry and then come together. And you watch this they'll seriously this seriously
Very good.
this seriously being playful and jestful is going to get more and more. And this great darkness is coming in a great way for us to create new light, not the old light.
I agree.
And the only sorrow will be for the old stories. Really. That's the sorrow. That's the end of the world. That's the Acropolis is the old stories. And they're not so great anymore anyway. They're kind of so look forward to the new and the unusual and the unknown and not knowing.
I
And
agree.
learn some new jokes. Learn
Yeah.
some new
Well,
jokes.
this is what I'm getting now, right? When you find yourself in times of trouble, right, let it
Yeah.
be. Speaking
Mm.
words of wisdom, let it be. That's what's coming
Yeah.
in now in a big way. But it's to
Yeah.
have fun. It's to have fun. And the joy of living, le joie de vivre, that's got to be our
Mm.
theme. And that'll take us
Yeah.
forward. And it's really not to give any energy, right, to stuff that's gone now. Because if you
Yeah.
keep giving it energy, you're just dragging back the past to go revolve again and go through the same old Groundhog Day. So let it go now, because it can only survive on our energy. And what sort of energy can it survive on? Fear. That's all it
Yeah.
lives on. It lives on fear. So
So you got to
by,
go.
sorry, so
Sorry.
by staying in the open heart and now moment, for want of a better way of putting it, is it's fearless. In the now moment, right now, there's no fear, there's no past, there's no future. There's just this, they say isness is the business. And that's what
Yes.
this is all about. It's spontaneous. It's not scripted, really. It's just coming out. And it's fun, isn't it? We always have a laugh, you and I love that. I love meeting up with you.
Well, it's has it got a nice ring to it?
Yeah,
If it
exactly.
doesn't,
Yeah,
if
don't
it
bring
doesn't,
Saturn into this because it will be we go from Saturn to Uranus in a fraction of a second, right? And then we'll
it
get on
hits
to
rock
shift,
bottom.
right? It's like these new phrases, WTF. The students used to come
Yeah.
up and they say, I'm with a child now, and I'll say WTF, and they go, "What do you mean? Who's the father?" So that's that one. But the other one is GFY. Well, that means two different things, because I put sometimes on me Facebook when someone's having a go at me, I'll put GFY, and
Okay,
they
what
think
does
it
that
means,
mean? Because I'll have to go and Google it.
oh well, it's go
Oh, you
fuck
can't say
yourself.
it.
Go fuck yourself, right? And they get back and say, "What do you mean that for?" I say, "What do you mean? I think you've taken me the wrong way. Good for you." So you see, I
Oh,
can't help it. You see, it comes out, and I think I'll just send them a little arrow, to say that I'm tuned into them.
so this simple example of language is what's happened over many realms, even the Bible and the Muslims and the Mayans and it's they've just got too serious with it all. That's all. Come
Yeah,
back to jest with it. And like you said, those three little letters have one opposite end. So which one are you going to choose? And that's the power of you.
it is.
And and you can be playful with it. You can just sit in the middle if you want, but it's your choice, not theirs. It's
I think
yours.
we've all been dyslexic, right?
Yeah.
And we're getting the opportunity, like Scrabble, right? We can now take the
Oh,
letters and make a different story out of it, really. One with a
yeah.
happy
Make up your
ending.
own. Yeah. Happy ending. Thank you, Dr. Joe. This
Oh,
has
thanks,
been.
Elsa. It's lovely to see you. And my regards to all your family. And
Thank you.
I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful Christmas tide. Right.
Thank you for helping our family this year. We've had some physical things that needed help, so thank you. So
No, it's a pleasure. I don't know
from our
exactly what I did,
family. This
but
is from our whole family. Yeah.
oh no,
Thank you.
I'm sending my love, and I hope I've helped in some way. And
Mm,
thank you to everybody, and it's lovely. And catch up with you in the new year then, right?
definitely.
And
Definitely.
we'll see what other stuff's coming through. But lots and lots of love, and thank you everybody for listening. And I'll download this and put it on YouTube tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Bye,
So
Dr. Joe.
all the best, and may the force be with you. May the force be with you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.